Got some really good stuff we're going to talk about tonight, or at this sunset hour. We're going to talk about some aspects of dreaming power, what happens when we wake up, what happens when we fall asleep, and let me get into position here. Just again, it's a little windy, so I'm going to go get some shelter next to a juniper tree and hopefully not step on any rattlesnakes. And always respecting the land that we are hanging out on, the guardians of this land. Look at this view. So I forget what this part of Sedona is called, but would you believe that this supposedly where I'm standing was actually, it once was the city dump? Isn't that crazy? So yeah, this is Sedona's city dump. So my trash is your treasure as we gauge the collective consciousness and clear out any junk that is in the way. So stoked to have all you here. Sunday night jam. We're gonna go deep as usual and have fun with this, but I just want to show you where I'm hanging. And look at this view. Can you believe this was the city dump of Sedona? I'm gonna get into position where you can actually see the view. Let me flip my around. There's the sun, there's that. Let me find, I think I'll stand over here. But how's everyone doing? I'm just gonna whip out my notes in a minute and then we can get rocking. Again, we're gonna talk about some techniques and aspects of dreaming and just, the state of the world, state of consciousness at large. All the ways that we get trapped, all the ways that we get empowered and get liberated. So I'm thinking, that looks kind of cool actually. Just follow me down here. We're gonna go over to this tree over here and then I can mount, I think I can mount my gorilla pod onto one of the branches and then kind of be hands-free. So let's check out this. Yeah, this will work. This is totally gonna work. Awesome spot, cool. All right. So I know I'm not diving in, saying too much right now, but I'm just waiting for more people to join and then we're gonna, again, go deep. But curious, anybody see that movie Guardians of the Galaxy Part 2? I saw it, that's part of what I want to talk about actually, to kick this off. It was totally amazing. It's such a fun movie, but there's some incredible, how would we say, parallel cultural dialogue going on, whereby one of the main characters, and I'm not trying to give away any spoiler alerts, but one of the main characters is called Ego the Planet. And I was like, yeah, does that sound familiar? Do you think we might be on Ego the Planet right now? So anybody see that movie? It's really, really fun. It's such a blast. I'm actually going to go see it again tomorrow night because there's so many little subtleties to it. It's such a fast-paced, well-written movie. And again, it's got these really funny, kind of current world society things going on. And one of the other theories that I have going on right now is like, we got to ask ourselves, like, why are there so many superhero movies being made right now? I think I have got a theory about it. I think there's so many superhero movies being made right now because that's the world we're heading into. That's the reality of where we're going. And I feel like maybe even the people who write these films and they direct these films, they may not know where we're headed, but somehow, because the past is an illusion, the future is an illusion, meaning time is an illusion, they're all interconnected, they all share the now, the collective now, that somehow all of us are getting premonitions to our power, premonitions to that state of reality whereby we're all superheroes all the time. And I think the rise in superhero movies and the whole slew of new Star Wars movies that are coming out, I think they are all the collective premonitions of the state of being that we actually want to go towards and will be going because of the rising energy of the sixth sun, right? So the Toltec believe in the sixth sun, and for them, that energy of the sixth sun fully anchors in 2021. But like anything, we have access to that energy right now. We don't have to wait. Again, we live in the now, we live in the timeless now. And so the energy and the powers of this sixth sun are available to us. And we already live in a lot of the aspects of the sixth sun right now, which is, where we live in the information economy, where knowledge is freely shared, and the emphasis on the inner being is starting to rise. And the de-emphasis on the celebration of the outer world, Hollywood's A-list, we don't give a shit about that stuff anymore. We haven't for a long time, but, I think it's parallel too. Long ago, only a few people could make movies. Now, if you own a phone, everyone can make a movie. Or, the whole idea of, only a few select people can be musicians or rock stars. Now everybody can make music from their phone and start a band and do whatever they want. And so there's just been this kind of democratization of power, where the old guard who guarded the power centers and determined who was popular and who wasn't have fallen away. And now everyone is actually seeing their own inner power and their ability to do anything they put their mind to. And that is actually the influence of the sixth sun. All right, let me get this gorilla pod mounted to this tree as we're talking. But anybody see that movie Guardians of the Galaxy Part 2? That thing was such a wild, wild ride. Okay, that's there. Hold on. Sorry for not getting this set up right away, but I figured, why not just start hanging out with you all right now? Let's put that right there. Ooh. Hey, Renee. Thank you. I'm so glad you're here. I'm just setting up my tripod so I can mount this phone to this beautiful old juniper tree, and then I can be a little hands-free right now. It's just going to take me 1 second. And then, as promised, we're going to get real deep, real quick, on all the good stuff that we came here on the planet to do, right? So, don't flip out that this is just taking a minute. I'm almost there. Getting this mount. These gorilla pods are really cool for mounting your phone on any sort of thing that has a branch or a bar. Okay. And putting it in. And meanwhile, I'll just show you the beautiful landscape that I am standing in right now, and that you're going to see more of as I get this mounted onto this tree. Boom. Click that on. And then let me flip this around. All right. We are mere seconds away from showtime. And I just want to make sure you could see the view. Yeah, that's nice. All right. Oh yeah, look at that landscape. Nice. Perfect. Excuse the little bit of solar flare there. No, but nobody ever really complained about the sun, right? We are solar energy. So, yay. Awesome. Now we're mounted to the tree. Just gonna grab my iPad. And my water. Cool. All right. So, let me turn this up a little. Perfect. Yay. All right, let's do this, kids. Again, welcome to planet Earth. in this time of great transition. All right. So, what I've got on my mind is this. Pull up my notes. So I've been noticing, right? So a lot of the technology that I'm going to be sharing with you is very, very grounded. I'm very, like, the stuff that I talk about on the Obsidian Blade, I never really want to ever give you just plain what they call like woo-woo or ultra spiritual stuff that is great in fantasy and great in excitement, but zero practicality. So I want you to know that whatever I talk about is something that is going to be utilizable, something that you will be able to put into practice, and something that makes sense. It won't take too much of a leap. It just takes you, as I've been saying all along, getting in the gym, and you do the technique like you pull the weight, you move the weight, you grow the muscles. You do the meditation, you clear the mind. You clear the mind, you gain your energy, right? And it's that simple, and it's that direct, and it's that effective. And so again, a lot of the woo-woo stuff is cool because it excites us to new potentials, but just be aware of what you're feeding yourself. Does it have application, right? Does it make your life better, or does it create frustration because it's not a reality? And you know, there's a lot of stuff that you have to use your discernment for. There's a lot of inspiring stuff out there that is actually just plain, you know, maybe one day it will be a reality, but it's good to, again, you know, put a lot of information into practice. And I just cannot emphasize enough how critical practice is. It is the difference between knowledge and wisdom, right? You can entertain yourself to death. You can read yourself to death. You can positive movie yourself to death, but unless you practice, right, you're just filling up your time. You're not quite, you know, accessing your power. You may be inspired, you may feel good, but you're just watching entertainment in the end. And we want to move past entertainment, and we want to move into empowerment. So that's just a side note about what's going on. Kirsten, how you doing? Glad to see you on here. We've got, yay, lots of love, good. So anyway, dreaming. So this is the technology that we're going to be getting into a lot more. Kind of look at that view real quick. Those are the coolest looking mountains right there. It's called the Coxcomb. Let me stand over this way, maybe. I know the lighting's crazy, but we'll deal with it. I like that. Fly the dreams. Yes, it can become yoga TV. Yeah. Do the yoga, the mind yoga. And remember, yoga, see, in the West, we kind of lose the plot when we use that term yoga, because yoga's been sold as just the physical activity. But as any one of you know, if you go deeper into what yoga is, it's actually, what is it? There's 8 limbs of yoga, and meaning it's a whole lifestyle, it's a whole philosophy, of which meditation is actually one of the main goals of yoga, aside from the liberation you get from the meditation and the asanas, the physical aspects of that. But in the West, we kind of think when we say yoga, it's like, oh, you mean getting on the mat? Well, you get on the mat to build a good infrastructure of physical structure so you can hold the posture of meditation longer and be a more effective, powerful, positive meditator in the end, which is to your liberation. Okay. It's dry out here in the desert, I tell you. It's so good to hang out with all you. So one of the things as we get into dreaming technology, and what I want to point out to you, is that when you wake up, this is one of the most critical times of your day. And if you saw some of my Instagram posts this week, I kind of went into writing about how there is the consumer rush, the capitalistic matrix rush of where you've got to get up out of bed and thrust yourself into a routine to make somebody else's empire run. That thrusting yourself into a crazy routine is at the expense of quite a few things. It's at the expense of your truth. And what we're wanting to do as practitioners of dream technology and magic is catching when you wake up, there's this tiny little window, this tiny little gap between when you were dreaming and you were waking. It's a very subtle place. You know what it feels like. And what I want you to catch in the mornings is the moment you wake up, that brief moment before you leap into your persona. This is very important to witness. The moment before you leap into your persona is the moment where you have the opportunity to witness how you are about to commit your personal energy for the day. Why your personal energy matters is because your personal energy is how you perform your magic, how you not just live life, but how you operate as a conscious extension of the intelligent universe. And, I'll jump ahead to this little note. I'll just start reading the notes because it just goes deep. But do you feel that? Do you feel that? You ever catch that moment where you just come right out of the dream, but before you jump into your personality, there's that gap. And we really want to start paying attention to that gap, because that in the gap is the moment where you get to redecide how your power is going to be distributed out into the world, out into the waking and shared dream. Morning pages transformed your life. Yes, Fly the Dreams. Morning pages are great. Mind the gap indeed, Kirsten. So watch this. And the other thing that you're going to check out in the gap that I wrote, the tonal, which is what we call the waking state. This is the tonal in Nahuatl, the Nahuatl language of the Toltec. The tonal is everything under the sun, everything that we can name. And it is the outward manifestation stuff. And the tonal is magnetic. So notice in that gap, there's a magnetism for you to reassume. Yeah, that's it. There's a magnetism to reassume who you were the day before. That our patterns have a momentum, and we can get swept up in our own momentum, whether or not that momentum is for our ultimate good, our ultimate health, right, and benefit. Even though there are lessons galore in every situation, be that situation positive or negative, right? We're always learning, we're always expanding. But, there's a certain point where you can actually switch this thing into positive momentum gear, and the lessons aren't so dramatic anymore. The wisdom starts kicking in. So I'll get to how we can make a decision in the dream. That's a little later. But right now, this waking state, the tonal is so magnetic. When you wake up, it draws you like a black hole right into its grasp. So another way to see the tonal is also all the things that make up who you think you are, all the things that affirm your ego and your identity, the inner dialogue, right? That inner dialogue, if you feel it, it's like it's really wanting to suck you back into what you were doing. And that sort of stuff, it reminds me of a job. I'm not interested in having a fucking job like that, where I have to be sucked back into who I was when I know I can have other choices that may feel more free, more positive, more liberating, more easy. And so I'm really just pushing that witnessing of who you think you are before you commit to it, and to realize that ultimately it's an option. And this is where, when we start seeing our day and we start seeing the personality that plays within that day as an option, then we're going to start to discover a lot about how we have power, how we use that power, and how we can choose to, put that power in different pockets of experience. So, when you wake up, it draws you like a black hole right into its grasp. It's so sticky, it's consuming. This is both its fault and its power. The tonal does have a place. The ego does have a place. The persona does have a place. But when it's out of control, when it's the dominant force that rules our life, then things are out of balance, So what we're trying to balance out the tonal with is what in, the Nahuatl language or the Toltec language we call the Nahual. So that is the dreaming side of us, which is at least 4 times more powerful than the tonal. And when those two things are combined, when your energy body is unified, which is the end goal of a lot of this deep practice, when those two things are unified, you can both dream and make those dreams, at your command become very solid. And so the tonal does have a place, making things solid so that you can experience them. It does have a place. But when that experience taxes you, this is what we need to wake up to first. This is where our power is trapped. And so, we're hanging out. This is what I represent right now to you. In order to fly, we have to first understand how we've depleted ourselves. We can't fly until we retract the energy from the dominance of the tonal as it is. The thing that's going to make you wake up, suck you back into repeat mode, and bleed you dry. And so this is how we wake up. This is the first place that we wake up, literally, when we wake up in the morning, to find our power before it is sucked right out of us. Get some water. So that, what happens when we get that wake up, it draws you into this defensive sense of self, something that has to be guarded or protected or fought for. This is also where you have drama, where you have enemies, and where you have ambition, to the complete obscuration of the total picture. So again, that gap is so critical to witness, because once you get sucked into your persona and you're running your routine, look at that. Do you notice there's the potential for you to be re-enrolled in something that's dramatic and depleting, or re-enrolled into the idea that you have enemies, or re-enrolled into the idea of a level of ambition that drowns out the power and the beauty of the magic that's all around us? Are you living a life where you don't see this, right? Because if we're living a life where we don't see this, what life are we living? And I would say we're living somebody else's life. We're living a life that we've been sold, be it through the television or through the government or through a nice glossy ad in a magazine. That is somebody else's dream in a very expansive universe that is capable of dreaming infinite amounts of dreams. So, it's very dry in the desert. So, the tonal is also the battleground, the arena in which the patterns of your dreaming take place. Its clutches are to be taken seriously, as well as devalued as you reclaim the totality of yourself. So, what does that mean? The tonal is also the battleground. For and I'll probably get into this in a little second again, for the Toltec, for the cosmology of the Toltec, and I'll parallel this in a second, what is subtle becomes solid, right? It's the subtle realms that create the solid realms. So much like when you're trying to heal something in your body, say you've got like an irritation on your skin, but it's really something deeper rooted inside of your body, like an imbalance. You've got two ways of treating it, right? Topically, which will only treat the irritation on the skin, or you can go deep within and find the root cause of what's causing that irritation. And by treating the root cause, that skin irritation goes away. So this is kind of how the subtle realms really work. The subtle realms are where our ancient patterns and our karmas are existing. And the subtle realms is also the dream realm. So that for the Toltec, they say when you're dreaming, this is the place where actually your patterns of life that you really don't like, or the patterns of life that you do like, exist. And then if you want to really truly change your life, you go into the root cause, which is the dream time. And you handle stuff in the dream time. You bust up the patterns in the dream time. And then when you awaken in the tonal, which is like the skin, then that pattern is already taken care of. Reality, in quotes, will offer you new opportunities because you busted the pattern in the dream time. So, but the tonal, like I said, is yes, on some levels, it's an illusion. We're not really meant to totally go crazy here and over-identify with our persona here. We're doing it too much. And at the same time, it needs to be taken seriously because the tonal, as we can see, can kill you. Your patterns of life can kill you. And as I wrote, you can die an asshole here. With everything you can complain about, you can have an externalized denial of your negative aspects of shadow. All the stuff that will be reborn and reborn again and again. So, unless we handle these patterns, these deep, deep patterns within us, they are bound to repeat. And what these patterns are we experience our patterns through what we call reality or life, but we can deny that they're happening. And when we deny that these patterns are happening, then we're not handling our shit. And it's just going to keep happening. It's just going to be put on loop, So, how does that sound? Let me check in with you right now. How are we all doing out there on this stuff? So we've been talking about the gap, that technical moment right after you dream and right before you engage. Thank you, Fly the Dreams. Awesome. I'm glad you're grokking it. That gap moment is really something to start paying attention to. And also setting up a lifestyle where you can take as much time as you need to be in that gap before you rush into your persona. And again, like someone earlier was saying, like to practice morning pages or to be in just a mode of silence. Slowly make a cup of tea and examine, right, your life before you jump into it, before you put it on like a suit. Before you attack the world with your predisposed agenda. Imagine a day, or imagine all day focused upon that moment just before you come into total waking awareness. So yes, having a moment before you jump into the day, you see the whole day, and you ask or you say, like, what do I really want to enjoy this time? Or what do I really want to experience this time around before actually it happens? So focusing on the transition of feeling the feeling of the transition between the two, the waking and the sleeping, or the waking and the dreaming. Do you feel like how each of one of them has their own sucking power? So that's the thing too. So then when we go to bed, here's the other flip, right? So when we go to bed, how can we become more conscious as we cross over what they call the fog into the dream time? This is the other flip of this, you know? So the gap is the doorway to connecting with pure consciousness. Yes, and the first consciousness that we really got to get a hold of is ourself, because we are consciousness. We're pure consciousness. And I just can't get over, and this is where we all have our homework to do, that we are only from one, like, you know, neuroscience will tell you that we're only from 1 to 5% conscious. The rest of it is 99 to 95% subconscious subroutines going on, neural networks that you formed at an early age in your domestication process. You know, so us as consciousness, we are the discovery, right? Forget about fucking other worlds. Forget about aliens. Forget about, you know, taking a trip to Africa. You are the next discovery, right? You think there's stuff out there to discover. We are still got to get in here and in here. Heart, mind, soul, spirit. Like, we are the discovery. I'm the Discovery Channel. You're the Discovery Channel. Turn on, tune in, and, you know, book a couple of tickets to yourself, you know? And, and, you know, go to the landscape of where that 95% of the subconscious is existing and do an inventory. Do an inventory check. Because check this out. I was writing this. So check this idea about, this is how powerful about the subconscious, right? Yes and no, and be aware of our nervous system. Yeah, nervous system will indicate a lot of what's going on for you, and to be gentle with yourself in all of this process as well. I know I get pumped up. There's a difference being pumped up and being aggressive with yourself, or self-violent about discovering your patterns. So that's a very important thing to notice, is when we are becoming aggressive to ourselves rather than patient, caring, and loving to ourselves as we go through this process of discovery, of booking those tickets to the adventure of the self-soul. You know, not to put it on a timeline, not to put it on a false timeline. There is a rush. There is a need to do things and get it done, but do not put your evolution on a fake timeline, right? An invented timeline or a false timeline. You got to be in tune with the rhythm of you and the rhythm of the conscious universe, you know? So I had this idea, you know, this is what really represents the subconscious to me. And again, that gap moment before that, right after, when the sucking power of your current personality sucks you right into the drama, sucks you right into the violence, sucks you into the ambition. You know, it's like, that's your energy. And where we're headed is to become very good, energetic, you want to say accountants, maybe? Or energetic distribution systems. So say you wake up with $1,000 every day, right? And the $1,000 is representing your energy, right? That you get to spend every day. So every day you're going to wake up with $1,000 worth of energy. But 98% of that is already pre-agreed to be spent upon things that are seemingly out of your control. So imagine waking up with $1,000 a day, and my math might be right off on this. I didn't have time to check my calculator. So if 98% of $1,000 is gone, as soon as you wake up, you're left with $20 of free energy to work with on the daily. So get that. That's your personality right now. That's my personality right now. That's what the subconscious does. The subconscious spends 98% of your personal power on affirming a personality that may be not in your best interest to keep funding. And so what we want to get to as energetic workers, as energetic beings, is to have full mastery each morning when that new $1,000 arrives, to have complete control over how that $1,000 or our personal power is applied or not applied. Because imagine not spending $1,000 of your personal power on the reality that you woke up into, and you were able to save that $1,000 of personal power. And then the next morning you added it to the next $1,000 that came in. So that next day you had $2,000 worth of personal power. And imagine doing that for a month and a year. Now this is where the sorcerers of ancient Mexico, this is the game that they were doing, right? They were conserving their energy into these giant, massive bundles in which to do other things other than show up and be aggressive in the commercial marketplace that we currently live in, called modern life. And as impeccable, energetic warriors, this is our practice. This is not the woo-woo shit I was telling you at the beginning here. This is the real nitty-gritty. You have energy. You have the life force of the universe running through you. But we all spend it in stupid fucking ways. We spend it in predetermined ways. And part of the art of being a warrior is catching where you have previously agreed to spend that metaphorical $1,000, that 98% of your personal power, immediately into the personality that you wake up into every morning. How does that sound? Does that make sense? Do you catch that's our first tax, or that's our first tax? That is our first tax as we wake up. We deplete ourselves via a personality. And if we want to perform powerful earth transformations, life transformations, we first must do the dirty homework of finding out how we're unconsciously spending our energy. You know? Because otherwise, you're gonna get that classical definition of insanity, right? Doing the same thing over and over again, but wishing for a different reality. So, as annoying as it is, because it's work. This is the gym time, babies. This is like where you're gonna have to have a practice, a strong practice, you know? You're gonna wake up and you're gonna do that you're gonna wake up in the gap, and before that personality kicks in, you're gonna do the homework and start retrieving and start making new decisions that breed new realities. So maybe if you're waking up every morning into a very depleted reality, you know, that's the first step, is like, you must claim your space for serenity when you wake up. This is a very important time. Whatever you have to do, whoever you have to kick out of your life, or whatever way you have to rearrange your current experience, make sure that when you wake up out of the dream time, you can stay in that gap as long as possible to, again, recollect or check, like an energetic guardian, where your energy might be slipping right out the door to all your previous agreements based upon a personality that's bleeding you dry. Yeah? I think that sounds good. And that's the homework. That's the homework we all have to perform. And I hope that seems clear to you on how to do that. But I can get into the more techniques. I'll think about that if there's any sort of techniques, movement, meditation, or awareness of it. So, you know, meditation is really the key. Again, it's a sweet spot. And this is what I'm talking about in the gap. There's this really sweet spot, and it's almost, it really actually, this is a neurological thing as well. Notice too where your head is on the pillow. Keep your head in the same position when you just woke up, because if you turn your head, that actually will start to engage survival mechanisms in the body that are wanting to scan the room for threats. We're very animalistic. So I notice in my own self that when I wake up, there's a certain place where my head was that's parallel to where I was just in the dream. And I notice that I can linger in the gap when I keep my head in this particular pillow position that was related to the dream time. And you will feel this in your body. This is definitely about having a lot more bodily awareness. But again, you can then get up and you can do things. But again, I just want you to catch before your personality sucks you in. Because you can get up and you can go meditate in your personality and still do the work. But just notice where your mind is starting to shoot off, right? Your mind, oh, there's that person I need to go have an argument with, or there's that job I got to go do. Those thoughts, what we want to do is catch ourselves before we start sending a lot of that energy, that $1,000 I'm talking about. Before we start sending like $400 to our job and, $50 to that person we need to go have an argument with, or $300 on that thing that you want to buy, like all the things that your mind can shoot off and do. Just pulling it back for a second, pulling back the agenda, pulling back the energy that goes into the agenda. Let me be clear, pulling back the energy that goes into those agendas, holding it a little bit and noticing how you're tempted to be somebody. Notice how you're tempted to shoot out into the world, but without a direction. And then just do that, and then get into whatever your practice is going to be, morning pages or meditation, keeping the sweetness of the silence so we can hang out with all this. I wrote about it in Instagram this week. I can't believe the amount of people I see just like rushing off to work. And they live here. Like 7 a.m. There's people jamming in their cars at 7 a.m. who live here. They're not even noticing this anymore. They don't see this. They've got an agenda. Your agenda can make you fucking miss this. And your agenda can not only make you miss the earth, make you miss the sky. The infinite stars in the heavens above us. We're so fucking hell-bent on being somebody, we just miss it. It's all right here. So I thought that was kind of funny to see it this week like that. Here's people living in Sedona, Arizona, and then you fucking see it. 7 a.m., Sedona, Arizona doesn't exist for a huge percentage of the population here because they're living in their fucking agenda. And that goes the same for any other city, any other beautiful place on the earth where somehow people are enrolled in the mighty dream of the former matrix, of which we need to jettison ourselves out of ASAP. And that's where our power is. Take your power back, So, the natural world exists everywhere. It just may be obscured with a bit more concrete and a bit more noise. So find the sweet spot of the silence as much as you can every morning. So what I want to keep existing, I know this is kind of fucked up. I know here in America, healthcare is an issue. And I don't mean to make fun of everybody who's got this, but there's this whole thing about pre-existing conditions. So I was just like, you know what? You've got a pre-existing condition. It's you being you. And that is enough to kill anybody. But mostly, the pre-existing condition of you being you is going to suck you dry until you reroute your addictive, habitual mindsets that get you the same results even though you are deeply wishing for something else. You know? So we all got a pre-existing condition. It's us being the asshole we are, us spending the power, our personal power, and wishing it was different. But all the while, who's the person who spends the power? It's you. The empowered you recognizes your own patterns and then does something about it. Fly the dream. Some cultures are more integrated with the natural world. Yes, they are. Yes, they are. And thankfully, they still exist. And we can spend time with those people and get healed by understanding how their worldview can inform our worldview, and we can once again have a natural connection to the earth, which is a great little segue. You know, today is Mother's Day. Whether or not you see it as a Hallmark holiday, which I kind of do, but, you know, at least let's give respect to the mother. Let's give respect to the great mother. And in the Toltec language, Nahuatl, that is Tonantzin. Tonantzin is the great mother of us all, the Mother Earth, the ancient Mother Earth that birthed us, Tonantzin. And so in this moment, we give a lot of props to the mother who makes our flesh, who sustains this earth so we can do all our wacky dreams here together. You know, because without her, without Tonantzin, the great mother, I don't know, we'll be somewhere else. We're just hanging out at a space bar in the middle of the universe. But here we got this beautiful juniper trees, these beautiful mountains. We got a lot of stuff that the mother gives us. So we're grateful for that. So what I'm suggesting, you know, is that there's greater methods for practicing access to your subconscious to disrupt personal habits that leave you crippled, lethargic, and defeated by your own hand. You know, and fly the dreams, bumping off of what you're saying, you know, some cultures are more integrated with the natural world. We, me, you, and everybody here, have yet to see a society built upon the mission statement and vision of everyone being self-healed. This is where it gets very practical and not woo-woo, swept up into fantasy. So again, we have yet to live in a society built upon the mission statement and vision of everyone being self-healed, sovereign, and in complete control and responsibility of how they spend their personal power here in the tonal, here in the shared waking space. Hello from Brazil. I'm glad you just caught that. So, you know, we've got to examine the current society we live in. Shojam Trungpa Rinpoche, Shambhala, you know, he talked about establishing what he called the creation of an enlightened society. Right now, we understand that the way the society is built up, it is fucking killing people. It's killing people. It's again sucking them into this war. Oh my God, you know. And this is where we all have to take our personal power out of this shared dream, this fight for a version of society that is so far from anything that will actually lift you up to what's going on. And so, you know, all of us are going to have to, and we are, because you're hanging out with me, I know all of you are energetic rebels. And it is so important for you to understand that if you continue to participate in something that is not working, then you're not having enough extra power to work on the solution. And I know that can be frustrating. That's why I threw everything into storage. I gave away bags of clothing of my old persona, and I'm just on the road now. I don't live anywhere right now. I live on the earth. I live on Tonantzin. This is where I live, And I'm continuing that journey because I just don't want to fucking spend my energy propping up a system, you know? And I want to say this phrase, I wrote this down, you know, you don't compromise first and expect to get great results later. You don't compromise first and expect to get great results later. Compromise comes when we spend our personal power on somebody else's dream. Come back to the dream of the earth, Great Mother, Tonantzin. All the intelligence, all the fortune is here. Look at this fortune. Oh my God. Oh my God, there's such a, I don't know if you can see it, there's this rad rainbow cloud. You can't really see it. It's right there. It's right there. There's this crazy rainbow cloud. I don't know if you can catch it the way I've got the camera set up. That's badass. It's like one of those dog rainbows. All right, questions, Q&A. What do you think? I just went off. I've been going off on this whole energetic thing. I want to hear what you're saying. I want to hear what you're thinking about all this, you know? You know, again, I don't want to give you woo-woo stuff. I want to give you practical. You know, practical is this, you know, I can have a dream and I can be consciously awake in the dream and then work within that dream to disrupt deeper psychological patterns that hold me back from my most liberated potential. The patterns that hold all of us back, according to Toltec cosmology, are the patterns that first exist in the formless and in the subtle realms. And then they manifest themselves as concrete living phenomena. You don't change the phenomena, the after effect. You change the belief. You don't change the results. You change and alter the source that makes those results. Again, this is what I was talking about earlier, topical versus root cause. Mindset is only as good as the beliefs that mindset is founded upon. And I think that's really deep because mindset can be considered both the ingredients list and the recipe for the act of creation of reality and its subsequent experience. So again, mindset is only as good as the beliefs that mindset is founded upon. How do I say name? Is it Kelso? Leap of Percent. No, I have not read that book. Interesting. I haven't heard of that title. But again, I'll jump back to this phrase that I like. You have a pre-existing condition. It's you being you. It's enough to kill anyone. But mostly it's going to suck you dry until you reroute your addictive, habitual mindsets that you get you the same results even though you are deeply wishing for something else. Yeah. It's good to hang out with all of you in this beautiful, beautiful setting with the Great Mother. Sun is about to go down. So, you know, if anybody's curious, those are writings that I'm writing. Those are my words. So, or the words that are coming through me as the vehicle. You know, it's been a while since I had some new podcasts up, but definitely going to be getting to that soon. It's been a big transition for me. Like I said, a couple of months ago, since the beginning of March, it's been a wild ride. You know, quit where I was living, quit all the jobs that I was engaged with, and said, look, I got to commit to this. I got to commit to the way, you know, and so get out of my way by seeing where I was spending my power and being very frustrated, you know. Good. Thank you, Art Soldier 77. Yeah, I think again, you know, the woo-woo is good, and I love the woo-woo, but I also want to get practical, and you know, part of it is you know, every day we got to wake up. before we wake up, before we bleed ourselves dry. And that gap moment is the place, therefore, where we start. The gap moment is our chance every morning at freedom before we leap into the suit of our current personality, which has already 98% of its energy agreed to as to what it's going to experience based upon how your subconscious has been designed. Now, where you're going to have to be brave a little further down the road is understanding and accepting that you can be more than who you are just right now. Getting to an ultimate creative place, kind of like an actor, really is actually maybe the best truth. Becoming someone who can be any character with any personality at any time, whenever you choose. This is an art. That's an art right there. And a lot of the sorcerers of old, that's what they played with. They played with that was one of the first steps that they utilized to shake up the dominance of their Bourne identity, which is kind of interesting, Bourne identity, Jason Bourne. But we have a Bourne identity that we assume. The sorcerers of not too long ago and of today practice the art of removing the energy of their Bourne identity and adopting new ones just to get the fluidity of being like, oh, I can have this history or I can have that history. I can have this costume or I can have that costume. And so we're not so fucking over enrolled in being who we are. You know? I just got the warning from Instagram. I've got 2 minutes left with you all. So let me just give out some props. I am so happy that we got to spend some time hanging out with the Great Mother together in this beautiful environment. These juniper trees, the sunset. Oh my God, this is so good. Posting all of these to YouTube. The link to the current video is in the bio. So if you like what I was saying in this episode, I'm gonna post it up later on the YouTube. And so if you missed anything, you can watch it later. It's gonna be all there for you. Wesley Knight, love that you're on the channel, man. So good to see you here. Yes, brother. Dude, if anybody's curious about like getting uber fit, check out Wesley Knight. That guy is like killing it on the fitness. Holy shit, that's impressive stuff that you're doing. I love it, man. And fitness is such an essential part of your sorcery as well, because you bust up the patterns that are stagnant in the body and you've got to build those earth muscles, you know, so that you're a warrior tough. All right. I got 45 seconds remaining, Art Soldier. So it's about actively choosing freedom to discover the reality of your purpose. Yeah, do that. Again, posting these up on YouTube. I love you. I'm so glad we got to hang out. Yeah, I'm starting a Patreon really soon to help with this mission. So start looking out for what I'm talking about on Patreon. It's a way for people to support artists doing what they love. And so soon I'll be telling you more about that. So I'll check in with you later about that. But everybody, remain in the gap as much as possible. Find your power. Much love. And we'll chat soon. Tonantzin, Great Mother.